Hello everyone, this is Rajiv S. Khanna for immigration.com, the law offices of Rajiv S. Khanna PC. I have in front of me a couple of questions that I received from the community, and I think these are questions that come up often enough to justify a brief talk. So the first question talks about, it says, my parents are visiting from India on a tourist visa. They entered USA in November, received a stay of 6 months, which is what normally people get when they come on a tourist visa. If you come on a business visa, which is the next question, you actually will probably get about 3 months, 90 days, maybe even less. Depends upon the reason you give to the CBP officer and whatever he feels is appropriate. So they got 6 months, his parents. Can they stay in in the 5th month, we applied for an extension of their stay. So what they've done is they have applied for an extension of their parents' stay in USA. I want to clarify one thing before I get to this point. Remember, a visa is a permission to enter USA. So the stamp that your parents have on your passport, that is a permission to enter USA. So let's say their visa is expiring tomorrow. Can they enter USA today? And the answer is yes. And when they come to the airport, they can still get 6 months stay. So if the visa expires, it is of no consequence to somebody who has already entered USA. Now, the I-94, which signifies what is the stay. What is I-94? It's a small white card for most people. For people who are coming on a visa waiver, it's not white. So it's a white card about, I would say about, I think 6 inches by about 4 inches or somewhere in that neighborhood. It says arrival departure record, and it will tell you when the stay expires. Now, since you have applied for their extension, USCIS has received the application, I-539. Before their current I-94 expires, they are permitted to stay until the date USCIS decides the application, or until the date the stay period that you have asked for, let's say another 6 months, is about to expire, whichever is earlier. So if USCIS gives them, of course, if the case is denied, let's say tomorrow, they should leave within a few days, reasonable period, okay? But make sure they must keep copies of the record that they applied for an extension and whatever the consequences were. Because what happens sometimes is that when they try to re-enter USA and they don't have a good record of why they stayed past their I-94 expiration, it can cause a lot of confusion, delays. Ultimately, it gets figured out. But when they land the next time, it's better to have the entire paperwork in their hands, copies of everything that was done, receipts received, and the final disposition. So getting back to my original issue, how long can they stay? They can stay until the stay that you have asked for in the extension application, that period, or until USCIS decides the application, whichever is earlier. Okay, so if USCIS decides the application tomorrow and it's a denial, they have to leave in a reasonable period of time, week, 2 weeks maybe. If the USCIS grants the application, then of course they are okay to stay for a while until the extension, of course, is about to expire. Can you apply for another extension? You can, but you've got to have very good reasons, and extensions are usually disfavored. Why are they disfavored? Because the idea is that your parents should be coming for brief visits. It's a visitor visa. They should not be coming here to live. That's something we always have to be cautious about. We have cases where we have applied for 3, 4, 5 extensions. Normally a lawyer is not needed for these things, but there are situations. I'll give you an example. It's an interesting case actually. We have 2 brothers. Both are clients. One is a physician, the other one is an IT professional. Now, very few people know this, but if your parents, let me rephrase that. Sometimes you can use a B visa in lieu of a derivative visa. What does that mean? Okay, let's say I come to USA on H1. We know that my parents, my wife and my children under the age of 21 can come with me on H4. But what about my parent? Well, let's say my mom is alone. Can I bring her? And the answer is yes. You cannot bring her on H4, but you can request the consulate to give a B visa in lieu of an H4, and it is recognized. It is recognized an honored, honorable way of bringing people in. Gay people, for example, can bring their cohabiting partners on a tourist visa. You can't get an H4, but you can get a tourist visa. Okay, and they will be extended normally while you are on H1. So the parent can actually avail of that. In our case, both the sons were on H1s. Dad comes here, he's severely diabetic. We asked USCIS to extend his tourist visa stay for another 6 months based upon the fact that he's got nobody in India to take care of him. Then the older son gets his green card. We still kept getting extensions, and we still are getting extensions. I think we've done about 3 of them so far, based upon the fact that there's nobody there. Of course, we give sufficient evidence that shows that he is indeed got a medical condition. So I know I'm digressing a little bit from the main question, but these are all issues that people need to be generally aware of. That there can be sometimes a situation where you can get a tourist visa in lieu of a derivative visa like an H4 or an F2. Now, bear in mind, this is also important, that normally USCIS as well as the consulates don't like it when you ask for too many extensions. Because, like I said, the idea is you're coming to USA just for a brief visit. You're not supposed to come here and make this your home on a tourist visa, except when you're getting it in lieu of a derivative visa. Okay, so can they stay in USA till when? I already answered that question. Will the extension request affect future entries or visa extensions? Keep good documentation. It should not. But now the third question is, how soon can they come back? And that ties into my observation that if they appear to be living in USA and visiting India, you've got a problem. However, you may want to look at, if you have a specific situation that requires this kind of a special attention, you could look into B visa in lieu of a derivative visa if you want them to stay here for a long time. That should answer the set of questions that this gentleman has. The second question was on B-1, which is the business visa. Entered USA on B-1 to gather specs. Received a stay for only 3 months, which expires in 22 days. Can I get an extension of the B-1? Yes, you can, if you have a good enough reason, and you can also stay. Again, the principle is the same as I answered in the first question. You can stay till the period that you asked for expires, or till USCIS gets back to you, whichever is earlier. Should I change to H1? That's always a bad idea. B1 to H1 conversion within USA is almost uniformly a bad idea. Why? Because consulates think of it very poorly. Because when you went to the consulate and got yourself a B1 visa, you made a representation to the consulate that I'm only going to go in for a brief visit. Then you convert to a 3-year H1. They look upon it with very jaundiced eye, because it appears to them that you have misrepresented the situation. So keeping this in mind, I trust this helps people out there. Feel free to let me know, folks, like a bunch of people do, whenever you want me to address an issue that's become common to the community and will help a lot of people. Okay, good talking with all of you. Thank you for listening.